Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the WTF1 podcast, post French Grand Prix edition. I didn't want to be here for this. Just wanted to say that, just straight up. I don't want to be here.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, how many times does one Ferrari fan need to not go through this? But here we are. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Team WTF1 who are watching this podcast live. So they've seen the crying before and probably after the podcast as well. And of course, this podcast is once again sponsored by Elgato, our season-long partners, making us almost sound like professional and being able to hear, especially me, crying in 4K and hearing in 4K. I don't know, that's the thing. But now it is. You guys okay? How are you? You well?
I'm great, thanks.
Oh.
Never better.
How about you, Katie?
Yes, I'm okay, thank you. We were just talking a bit beforehand. I had a bit of an embarrassing moment earlier this week where I just stacked it and smashed my face into a curb. Tommy was present as well. He didn't push me, despite what some people on the watch along might have thought. But yeah,
wait, there was a watch along to you falling over, or you mean the watch along right now?
There's the qualifying.
Tommy was doing a Twitch.
I was doing a Twitch stream. I was like, Katie,
trip. So yeah, if you hear me accidentally like say anything with a lisp, or I don't know if it picks it up, but I have a slightly bruised lip, then apologies if I've upset you.
Oh, I hope you haven't upset anybody. I'm glad you're okay, Katie. It sounded like a pretty nasty fall, but I'm glad that you're okay. And you're here on the podcast. You were straight on the quali watch along. You were just like, no.
The commitment.
Screw it.
No one can stop me.
So committed. Not even a curb. Right. 3-word race review time. Oh, God. Aniket Mohan, 24. More Ferrari pain. Sahel _Bagala, onesie, ruining it. You're ruining it. Sydney _Brown _06, Merck equal consistency. And Mr. Matt Kendall, is Matt okay? Yep. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm looking forward to the French Grand Prix today because definitely nothing happened yesterday. It's Sunday today, right? This is just a podcast. This is a pre-race podcast right now. We're looking forward to. Cool. Nice. Yeah, obviously a lot of 3-word race reviews around Ferrari pain, and completely feel that to the nth degree. Mercedes as well. Very, very good. And we'll get on to that. Now, let's just get it out of the way, shall we? So I can start the healing process. My 3-word race review. Championship is over. Okay.
Oh,
I am being F1 Twitter right now. I'm being that right now. Okay. And the reason I say that is not because I'm salty. It is. I'm very salty. But the championship is over unless we get something very, very crazy going on now. I mean, Verstappen is 63 points clear of Charles Leclerc. Verstappen does not have to worry about Sergio Perez. Doesn't have to worry about anyone else. The only enemy that Verstappen could possibly have is that Red Bull. Okay? If that Red Bull starts blowing up, I will happily accept that this 3-word race review has done a beautiful jinx to get Charles Leclerc back in the championship. However, it doesn't seem that way. Verstappen is still driving at a level that is obscene and clear of pretty much everybody else. Leclerc has been on that level to a degree, but obviously a mistake that he made yesterday is the difference between the two. I've said throughout this whole season that I still think Verstappen is a better driver. And I've said that through my Ferrari red-tinted glasses and tears. Yes, they're just like red tears. But yes, so I think it's probably a fair thing to say that if we have a normal championship from here till the end of the season, the championship will be over. Because I mean, if you have an 8-point swing or a 7-point swing, you'll need 9 races. Leclerc will need 9 races if they finish 1-2. Obviously, I'm imagining the fastest lap will go to someone else if it gets very, very tense, and the other teammate will just whack on a set of soft tyres. But yeah, there you go. Complete and utter depression and denial.
Are you okay, Matt? Because I saw lots of people like just asking, are you all right? Like some people are saying Matt's now in his villain era.
Why? What did I do?
You've just been through so much.
Yeah. This happy-go-lucky
really
guy.
Sad.
Not anymore.
No, I think probably a lot of Leclerc fans and Tifosi will be able to seriously relate with you. But yeah, I mean, I'm not one to say the championship is well and truly over because it's never over till it's over. But seeing as we came into this weekend already, yes, off the back of a Leclerc victory in Austria, but it's fair to say that Leclerc's championship hopes are a little bit more fragile and rocky than Verstappen, who, although, yes, he has some reliability issues, it's looking like he's got a fairly strong bridge. I'm making up the phrase here, but like to make his way to the title, whereas Leclerc's is a bit more like vulnerable. So then for him to make a mistake the size of this one, I mean, crashing from the lead, it's not the best, is it? And we know how much he beats himself up about this kind of stuff. It's certainly probably the biggest twist to the championship I think we've seen so far. And I just feel so bad for Charles because he's one, so hard on himself, and two, I think, well, we'll talk about it later, but he must realize that now. I think this is his style. Like, he's insanely fast. He's got so much talent, but I don't think we can say, oh, he's unexperienced and that's why he's making these mistakes. I think this is just going to be how he races for the rest of his career. And whether that will cost him championships down the line, maybe, but it's a bit of a difficult one for Leclerc. So hopefully, the good thing is we've got a race this week. So it's not like it happened in Hungary and then he's got a whole summer break to sit and like, it is, he can come back and hopefully be a bit stronger. I think you'd be better to have it happen now, and then the next week you can like go for it.
It's only a good thing if it goes well.
True. It should be a good track for him as well, but
yeah,
that's never, I mean, Monaco was, and look what happened there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge mistake. I still can't believe it. I mean, if you saw my reaction, I was shocked. You couldn't believe it. You went through every stage of grief when it happened, Matt. But I can't get over that. Essentially, he resisted that pressure from Max when Max was all over the back of him in DRS, and you thought this is the crucial part of the race that he needs to stay ahead, which is where he'd lost the race earlier in the season when Max just kind of breezed past in the DRS zone, and then that was it. The usual like, oh, Charles starts on pole, but Max wins kind of race. And then for him to just go off on his own, just completely, a complete error, really. Like there was no pressure at all, really, other than the fact that, Max was looking quick and maybe had to set some quick lap times. But just when the title was coming back, I don't think it's over. Of course I don't, but it is a huge gap now. And what even as a pessimistic Verstappen fan, I know what you mean, where when Max has a bad race, Silverstone's a great example. It was only a 5-point swing. Leclerc has this, and we said at Silverstone that needs to be a 25-point swing in Leclerc's favor, but it wasn't. And this is, he's just thrown away 25 points, and it's even worse that Max was there to pick up and get the cushion. And I'd not even thought about what you said before, but the fact that Verstappen can finish second, if he wins the next race, he doesn't have to win a race after the summer break, which is quite wild. That's how big the points gap is. So yeah, it is a big old gap. I'll give you that.
It's a gargantuan chasm. I think we can definitely say that. It's I am almost of the opinion now, and this might just be because I'm, this is Monday after the race. There is a higher likelihood, but I think by some stretch, that Leclerc and Ferrari, Leclerc doesn't finish second in the championship. He finishes lower, and that Ferrari get beaten by Mercedes at this point. I'm looking, I genuinely believe that Mercedes are taking a step forward when all of these changes to the regulations come in at the second half of the season. Potentially Ferrari and Red Bull hauled backwards. Like George Russell is 27 points behind Leclerc in the championship. 27. And Mercedes are 44 behind in the constructors. That's one race of goodness for Mercedes, like actual goodness where they're the fastest. And all of a sudden, Ferrari have thrown away what could have easily been, and I'm not just saying Ferrari and the drivers have thrown away a championship winning car. And I mean, that would be devastating if they weren't to finish at least second in the championship. But look, this might just be, as I say, pain from the fact that Leclerc's unfortunately thrown away a lead. But that's the difference. These mistakes that we don't see from Verstappen anymore, they're still in Leclerc's DNA. And whether that will be ironed out when he's had a bit more experience fighting in a championship fight like he is this year for the first time ever, we don't know. That only time will tell. But right now, as I've said, are you picking Verstappen or Leclerc for the title? You're picking Verstappen because you just know that a bad race for him will be a third place at Monaco.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which is crazy. Questions, right? Here we go. Sorry, popped off for a while.
Before you mention that, an interesting point from Ava94 in our Team WTF1 chat said the biggest gap last year was 32 points after the Austrian Grand Prix. And I remember thinking after the Austrian Grand Prix when Verstappen had won those 3 races in a row, you're kind of like, this is looking very good for Verstappen. And it's what, double that? Over double?
Almost, yeah. Almost double. So yeah, not good. Not good if you're a Ferrari fan. Very good if you're a Verstappen fan, and not good if you're just an unbiased fan, because we won a championship fight.
No, yeah,
and 63 points is absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, it is a shame because we were going to have an intriguing race, which we didn't have in the end, but it was going to be really interesting to see how that strategy worked out, because I think Max was going to get ahead, and then you'd have had Leclerc fighting back, and then maybe it would have swapped again in the strategy. Who knows? But
that's the thing. That's what we've even mentioned. Really, is that Ferrari left him out an extra lap, probably banking on the fact that he was going to get stuck behind. Was it Lando? He came out behind.
Yeah. But Verstappen was just flying anyway, and he would have
flew past him.
Ahead.
And it was 27 seconds the gap, and I think Leclerc was halfway around the lap and it was 27 time loss, I think, in the pits, or 28, 27. So. Yeah, Verstappen would have taken the lead through a very simple undercut, and we probably would have been talking about Ferrari's strategy there. I don't know, but
Leclerc just put it in the wall to do him a favour.
Ferrari, like, come on, we don't want any more questions about our strategy. Okay, right. Question: Cam_G_7. Lots of blame on Ferrari this season, obviously, but is Leclerc showing he's just not ready to be a world champion? I would not say that he's not ready. I would say that he's not ready to take on Verstappen for a world championship, because we've seen world champions make mistakes in the past in a season and still become world champion. But when you're up against drivers like Hamilton, drivers like Verstappen, that will churn out a result every single race weekend without fail, like, you have to be on your A game every single time. If you can't do that, if you're throwing away 25 points here and there, which isn't 25, it's 32, because the swing as well between him and Verstappen, that he's gifting Verstappen 7 extra points as well. So it's a huge swing, which I'm sure he knows. This isn't, I'm sure Leclerc isn't listening going, so what have I lost? But it's a massive mistake to make when this whole battle has been about incremental gains and losses. Obviously, we've had a few reliability issues as well. But when you're actually finishing on track, it's usually a first and a second, and they're just taking 7 or 8 points off each other. It's Leclerc's, I don't know, whether his mentality is not right, whether he's a bit too hard on himself. I don't know. It's a question that only Leclerc can answer.
I'm glad you said it, because I thought you were going to call me biased, because in my notes I'd written not against Max or Lewis as well, because it's true that I don't want to belittle certain people's championships, but say there's been moments in the past where a driver has been given a very dominant car and all he has to do is beat his teammate.
You could just say Nico Rosberg.
Well, he was against Hamilton.
Did you know?
I know.
I was actually going to say, like, no, I was thinking more
Nico.
like, dare I say it, like Jensen at Braun,
I knew you
his
were
teammate
gonna
was
say
Barrichello,
Jensen Button.
or even however much I love him, Damon Hill. He won the year that Michael Schumacher had a bad Ferrari, and those drivers, if the Ferrari was completely dominant in the way Mercedes was in 2014, yes, I think he is going to win the championship because he's better than Sainz. He's proved that. He's outqualified him all the time, and he doesn't need to push as hard. But when Max is in an equal car, you're not going to do it. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
I love how your voice is just like...
It's too early in the morning.
You're like 63 points. I can just
I know.
not talk anymore.
I know. But yeah, like you said, that record with Max is still ongoing. It's insane. It's been nearly 2 years now that when he's got a working car, he finishes on the podium. So, and 99% of the time, that's first or second as well. So it's not even third. I think third Monaco is like pretty much the only time he's got a third place either. So, like you say, Leclerc having a bad race is sticking it in the wall, or Ferrari screwing up his strategy and him losing loads of points, and then Max having a bad race when he's well, touch wood, we've not seen the reliability.
Can't remember one actually.
Well, that's the thing. I guess he's had the reliability at the start, but mentioning that reliability at the start, Leclerc and Ferrari have had that opportunity, dare I say, that Hamilton had last year, where Max has had some bad luck. Like last year, Max was still in this form, and it was only 3 races where Max had DNFs, and Lewis almost, and some say should have, took the title. He's had that this year. Silverstone, when his obliterated his car or whatever, and then the 2 DNFs at the start of the year. So, that's quite a big point swing. And you've got to think, if that Ferrari is a Mercedes, they're just picking up all the points, and Verstappen struggling to get that 50-point lead back up that he's lost through bad luck. So, yeah, it's a tough one. I think it's too harsh to say he's not ready to be a world champion, because world champions, there's a lot of circumstances that can happen. Some people can win it easier than others. But at the moment, I totally agree with you. He's not ready to be a world champion against Max Verstappen, who's in a car just as good as that Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think back to I feel like Keke Rosberg, when he won his championship, he only won a couple of races that year. So I know obviously there were less races and stuff throughout the year, but it just proves that depending on the year and the competition that you have and the car that you have underneath you, there's not an exact formula of how you become a world champion in a year. So I think I kind of alluded to it earlier with showing he's not ready to be a world champion. I do think that this is just going to be Leclerc's style. He might learn from certain mistakes. I mean, yesterday he literally labelled his incident as a mistake. I'm sure he probably won't do the same again if we ever go back to Paul Ricard or if there's another similar circuit. But I think he's got enough experience now that he should know better. There's no point in, offering kind of solutions or ways to cushion it. He messed up. That's just how it was. And I think how he sets up his car and the fact that he's just got so much speed means that mistakes will probably inevitably continue to happen. Does this mean that he'll never win as many championships as he deserves? Quite possibly. But once again, look at the competition around him. He's got Max Verstappen, who guy looks like he's just having a bloody Sunday drive. It just looks so easy to him, which I'm sure for Max fans is great. But for some others, it must just be so infuriating. So I'd really like to see Charles get a chance to have a go at World Championships, because I think he is in that same bracket that the likes of Max and stuff are in. It's just he's maybe got a few more weaknesses in areas where Max is just stronger. So, but hey ho, these things happen, nobody's perfect apart from Max Verstappen apparently. So yeah.
Yes. The thing is, Max has been there before to make you feel a little better, Matt. Max, I guess Max didn't have a world's title winning car when he went through his stage of crashing, and he was I guess the difference is that when Max got his chance in the World Championship car, he sort of delivered straight away, and Leclerc's taken a bit longer and a bit more error prone. But I personally don't think that Leclerc will be like that forever, but we'll never know until it's 5 years' time and Matt's still here crying on a podcast.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Is that I think it's not that it obviously it hurts that Leclerc is making these errors, but you think, okay, yeah, this is part of him developing as a driver. But the problem I have is that this is how this particular year I see as a window of opportunity for Ferrari. They've taken so long to get back towards the front consistently. Now they're here. But with this is the start of a new set of regulations, you can't think for the world that Mercedes are going to sit there and not take a step forward into the actual fight for wins, either at the end of this year or especially going into next year. And there's a lot of talk that this new Mercedes concept might take a little while to extract the package and the performance, but once they do, we're all in a lot of trouble. Basically, is kind of what the understanding is there. So yeah, it's just a shame, really, because when you look back at the season, you know how we go, it's a championship fight. When you look back at the season, they've lost a few points here and a few points there. Ferrari could look back on the championship, even this half of the season, and go, oh my God, wow, we left a lot of points on the table, either through driver error
it's
or
obscene.
Through... It seems every weekend
I'd love to calculate it. Because I reckon Max has lost probably, like, off the top of my head, like 70 through bad luck. And I reckon Leclerc's lost over 100 easily.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
mad.
Anyway, moving on. As the sun comes out and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want to interview faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/WTF1. That's linkedin.com/WTF1 to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Team WTF1 member Max S. When is anyone at Ferrari going to face consequences for their repeated incompetence? Wow, Max S, you're one of those, huh? You're one of us. It's Ferrari's philosophy of dealing with making mistakes and being human. I think is quite infuriating for fans because they do not own up to their mistakes. I mean, even Bonotto didn't really say much about Charles Leclerc and the Silverstone not pitting incident. It was like, I think we made all the right decisions apart from maybe the one with Leclerc. Like, no, that's a race-losing thing that you've done, and you're kind of shrugging it off like it was just one error in all of the amazing judgment calls we made.
Someone like Toto Wolff or Christian Horner is on the radio to Max or Lewis going, we're really sorry we let you down there, but we'll come back stronger. That's all it needs to be.
That's all it is. And a lot of people don't see that as weakness. If a team says that to their driver, people are going to turn around and go, I don't like Ferrari anymore. They're weak. They're apologizing to their driver for making an error. So I think there is a integral flaw with the way in which they deal with it, because I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly the same way as how they deal with it inside the walls as well. You know, if you're a fly on the wall, are they actually taking responsibility for what they do wrong? I don't know. I think that's probably where it lies, because it just seems that way, you know, that they can't, for whatever reason, get over this whole team order thing and being able to put one driver in front of the other. There just seems to be this very different way of working, this very Ferrari way of working, and they just don't want to go out of that because it feels comfortable and that's what they know.
I'd be super interested to hear actually like how Alfa Romeo and Haas are finding it, because obviously they've got a Ferrari power unit in the back of their cars, and we've just seen repeated like flaws and issues with these PUs. And if Ferrari have that same philosophy of like not saying, sorry, we've given you a bit of a dodgy package here, like it makes me wonder whether they'll start to look elsewhere, because I imagine that would be incredibly infuriating to think you've spent all this blood, sweat and tears into this car just for this element in the back not to work to its best capabilities, and then Ferrari just to be like, it happens, on to the next one. So but yeah, it is certainly interesting. I mean, Carlos Sainz was quite defensive about the decision that they made yesterday when they asked him to pit when he was battling Checo, and said, you know, that a lot of people think that Ferraris are a disaster with their pit calls, but it's no different to like other people on the pit wall. But I mean, Ferrari, so it's obviously not just a race team, it's a car manufacturer, it's a luxury brand if you want to go down that route. Obviously, inside the bubble of F1, it's got a reputation for them being clowns, if you will. People refer to them as that, or that they don't take things too seriously. But you've got to remember that we are in that F1 bubble. But if this continues, it could well start to influence outside of the F1 bubble. And I'm not saying that a few dodgy pit stops is going to affect the entire Ferrari brand that's been around for, donkey's years.
Breaking news.
Yeah. But it's just madness. Also, not knowing what penalty is what when they were speaking to Sainz on the pit wall. Like, how is your driver telling you what the rules are when he's driving around at like 100 and something miles an hour? And he's like, isn't it a 5 seconds like just time penalty, not stop and go kind of thing? It's just
that could have been such a massive blunder, couldn't it?
Imagine if he'd come straight into the pits.
Yeah,
it's insane.
They're the kind of things that don't help Ferrari, isn't it? Like, it's just the like adding up again and again. Go on, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to go very quickly back to the point of like how Ferrari work is potentially different to other teams. How I see it is that, how, for example, Hamilton is kind of like the driver at Mercedes. I mean, George's doing a great job, but like they massage his ego. They keep him happy. They make sure that he is happy within the car. Ferrari is definitely that way of, well, Ferrari's bigger than both of you. You are
100%.
happy to drive for us and you will protect the brand. Whereas I think a lot of other teams keep those drivers happy and make them feel important and make them, and I think that's the way to go. If you want to keep momentum up, it's not that so Ferrari is more important than the drivers.
I know it's forever ago, barely even after I was born, but Ferrari literally fired their world champion driver because he said bad things about the car, Alain Prost, in 91, I think it was. Imagine, a team doing that. You wouldn't see Mercedes going, Lewis, why are you saying this car's bad? We're going to fire you, your best driver ever. It's just ridiculous. So, Ferrari, I do feel sorry for them a little bit because they have this enormous pressure on them that they are Ferrari. And while they've got this, the problem is they're really good at, they've built a title winning car. It's a shame that they've thrown it away. You'd rather be in their position than like a McLaren or an Alpine, that they've got loads of resources as well. They're not building championship winning cars. So you've got to give Ferrari some credit for actually delivering. But it just happens far too much with Ferrari. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. I'm so sorry.
Emotional. I should be the one having a breaking voice.
Cheering yesterday he was doing when Leclerc.
It wasn't even. I don't know what is going on with my voice. I'm so sorry.
63 points, getting the bubbly out.
It reminds me. There was a great tweet I saw from Pretzel Vettel that says the Sebastian Vettelification of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari career is truly in full motion. And it is so true. Like, that incident was a proper like 2018 Hockenheim moment where you're just like, oh my god. And why is it always Ferrari drivers that have these moments? The pressure is insane. That there's got to be something. Sebastian Vettel went into Ferrari. I know he had a bad time at Red Bull in that last year, but he was dominant. He was known for never making mistakes. And then through strategy errors and mistakes and stuff, it happened, and now it's happening again. And the fact they don't help themselves sometimes with the things of like, talking to Sainz, and his strategy was an odd one. He got screwed. I think we're doing a video about this anyway, aren't we? That Leclerc's going off actually screwed Sainz because he needed to go long into the race on his hard tires. And actually then when he pitted, it screwed his strategy completely. So Leclerc actually shafted Ferrari even more. So we can't be too harsh on Ferrari because Leclerc really shafted them both. Sorry, we're just going to say, but the fact that Sainz, they either needed to, it's again with these like calls where they need to be authoritative and just straight down, just make a decision. And they either needed to pit and not waste time trying to fight Perez, then come through the pack later, or let him overtake and just hope his tires last. But they did the worst one, which was try and get him to battle through. And then finally, once he'd got through, then pit him. Very, very bizarre. But hey.
I was just thinking, I know it's not a new idea by any means, but Jean Todt, obviously, he was at Ferrari in their glory days. He's now left the role of FIA president. There was speculation that he could go back to Ferrari. Do you think a figure like that is what they need? Do you think maybe Binotto is too much of a teddy bear, too sweet, and they need somebody like that to go back into it? Or do you think
there's clearly more problems in team principle? A lot of people are like, should Binotto be fired? It's like, Arriva Bene, should he be fired? Dominicali, should he be fired? There's a theme here. It's like Man United, right? If you know ball knowledge.
If you know ball
knowledge. God,
they're a team that they're firing their manager constantly. And still not winning.
I love okay. None of us took that dirty. Katie was like,
"Yeah, I know, classic Katie," as in football. That is the phrase, Katie.
Obviously, yeah, totally.
But yeah, that's the thing. They're firing their manager every year, and when does it get to the point where they're like, maybe it's not the manager's fault? And that's how I feel with Ferrari with this team principle thing. They fired Dominicali, they got in Arriva Bene, they fired Arriva Bene, now they've got Binotto. And, at the end of the day, Binotto has got them back to a winning car, and he's not the one on the pit walls making the strategy calls. There must be a higher power at Ferrari that means that this isn't happening for whatever reason. So I don't think it's fair to just say, like, fire Binotto, because someone else will come in and the same thing will happen.
I think as well, like, times have changed. Jean Todt going back into that outfit in a 2022 Formula One team, I'm not sure it would be as plug and play as maybe you'd like it to be as someone like Jean Todt with all of his experience. I think forget the conversation about Leclerc not being ready to be a world champion. Ferrari aren't ready to be a world championship winning outfit. That's also in the conversation there as well, because of all the things that they're doing. Obviously, science and strategy. To touch on that, I know you have, Tommy, but it just didn't make any sense. I know that there's been talk of, he wouldn't have got him anyway. But why are you waiting till he's past Perez to then go, I know your tyres aren't going to make it, actually. So we're going to now pit you. Like, they would have known that then they're going to pit him again. So why would they leave him behind Perez for so long, make a great move, tell him to pit while side by side with him, and then...
That was the worst bit, wasn't it?
And then Sainz was like, stop talking to me. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's just... the weirdest thing, and that you could just tell that they're all just looking at these screens going, okay, so the calculations are. Meanwhile, looking at the TV screen, you've got Sainz making a great move on Perez. So yeah, it's just things like that.
Either it's not being played on the radio, or it is a thing, and it suggests that it is a thing, that no other team has so much of their drivers going against their own decision or telling them what to do. Or even when Vettel was there, it became a thing of like, Vettel the race strategist, because he ended up having to do his own pit calls because he never trusted what Ferrari did. So,
and the thing is as well, like, I know it's benefit of hindsight, but if they had left Sainz out, a VSC came out, so he could have then just dipped in the pits maybe if he wanted to. But obviously, that was only a few laps before the end. But there's all kinds of things that could have happened. I think that it just didn't make any sense to pit him with 10 laps to go. It didn't give him enough time to even try to get back in front. And maybe his tyres had held on. At this point, Leclerc out, do Ferrari go, well, we have to just roll the dice here a little bit. 10 laps to go. Perez and Russell were fighting like no tomorrow. There could have easily been a chance with that Ferrari that is quicker to have stayed ahead, but they went for the safe option, and maybe we would have been having a go at them for not pitting had Sainz gone in the wall as well with 4 laps to go because of a tyre failure. So it's a difficult one to talk about, but it just didn't make any sense to pit him then, to be honest. But anyway, moving on. Next question and final question on Ferrari. Gio Vige me. Can F1 75 be the best car not to win a championship? I don't know. That's a difficult one, because it's not as if Ferrari are a second clear of everybody else. Like, they are, as AWS Insights said this week or last week, that they are bang on level in terms of performance. So I don't think it's fair to say that Ferrari have thrown away like an easy championship.
I think it'd be the best car in history to finish third in the championship.
Yes, that is very true.
At this rate.
You can't list every single car in like F1 72 history or whatever it is. I mean, it's certainly quick, but it's also not reliable. So therefore, I think I would say no. It's not the best car if it keeps blowing up every other race, but it's certainly very fast. So I would say no to that, but it's probably
no
up there.
Thanks. No thanks.
It's a no from me.
I'd say it would be the best if the season carries on. It would be the best car to not win a championship by an enormous margin. I would say because the gap
Someone just screamed.
is Grace. Yeah.
Oh right.
Sounds like a squeaky door.
Good stuff. Right, Katie, 3-word race review, please.
So my 3-word race review is VSC, which I'm counting as one word. Screw up. And that is to do with Sergio Perez. Some people might have thought he was caught snoozing on the VSC restart, but he is blaming a blunder with the virtual safety car restart and the hardware issue that apparently happened through the FIA, which meant that the VSC restart came up twice on the messaging system. So he got very confused. The same message is displayed to all the teams and they all use the same messaging system. So I don't understand where Perez is coming from when he says we got rogue info, because everyone got the same information. But it basically meant that a hardware issue triggered an automatic switch to a backup, which meant the restart was delayed by about a minute and not 10 to 15 seconds as the rules say. This delay is why Sergio zoomed off before realizing it was still virtual safety car, and then Russell closed in and timed his restart to perfection. But yeah, Sergio was not happy about it. He said it cost him a podium place. He said it seems like George had different information and he was able to prepare better for it, but everyone has the same information. So a bit of a weird one. I think lots of people are like, oh, it's so unfair on Sergio, but I don't know. As you know, I love Sergio. He is my number one bae, but at the same time, I think it's a bit of a blunder because there's also the screens at the side of the track that go green when the VSC has ended, and they hadn't gone green yet. So there's a bit of a mess up from the FIA in the sense that their issue broke. At least they got a backup, I guess. But I don't feel like it's fair to say that Sergio was completely mugged of a podium through this little mistake, if I've explained that well enough.
You have. Because I think we saw it as well, though. We saw it on screen because it was delayed for so long. That the graphic was overlaid saying ending. So I can understand the problems that the drivers had, but Perez can't kick off about it because everyone had the same information, as you say. If it was only him, and now he's speculating. Well, I think George may have had some different information. No, I think it was just a bit of luck, and George has managed to time it better. George said in his post-race interview that he was accelerating as Perez was braking, and I know you have to hit these mini sectors in terms of time reached. So maybe Perez, with all this information, what's going on, gets a little bit kerfuffled, and George just deals with it better. That's how I see it. So it is obviously annoying for the FIA to have had that problem, but at least they had a backup rather than just finishing the entire race under VSC. That would have been quite exciting for the last few laps.
Imagine, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Perez can really have. You can have a go at the FIA, sure, because it should be very clear cut. But these things happen. It was a problem. Every driver was in the same boat, and Russell was just a bit luckier.
He was luckier because my understanding of it is that Sergio got told that the VSC was ending, so he sped up. And then at the exact point that he had to brake and basically slow down to make sure he hit his delta time was the exact moment it actually ended. And then obviously that meant that he's having to spin the wheels and speed up, whereas George is doing a consistent speed and can just breeze past. And obviously he made it look extremely easy. So I get why he's miffed, but I do get that everyone's obviously in the same boat there. I've not seen that before. It's a very unusual incident, so fingers crossed it doesn't happen again. But Sergio did not have a great race, has to be said. When he got passed by Hamilton at the start, I know the Mercedes race pace was a lot better than what they were in qualifying, but I'm sure we weren't the only ones, me and you, Matt, on the watch time, but we were just like, wow, Sergio's getting past in DRS immediately. I think everyone would have assumed that because Red Bull seemed so much quicker, and obviously Max and Charles just shot off into the distance as always. But yeah, Sergio had a bit of a clumsy race, and he must be pretty gutted to have to finish fourth when your teammates won the race, and also the two Ferraris are out of it as well.
It's a shame to see the performance dip now from Perez. With whether it's the way in which the car's going in terms of its development, and everyone will say, oh, it's favoring Verstappen or whatever. I mean, even if they are, we've spoken about this many times, it makes sense. Of course they are to favour Verstappen. If they have to make the car faster, and the only way of making it faster is to favour Verstappen's driving style, then so be it. That is how it should be if they're fighting for a championship. But it is a shame for Perez to dip off, and as well, like if Mercedes are now back, no, but if they are taking steps forward, all of a sudden, Perez that could sit there and finish P4 behind the two Ferraris and the Red Bulls now could potentially start finishing P6, P7 if other teams are not that far away and Perez is half a second slower than Verstappen a lap or whatever.
So he does his Red Bull number 2 driver in reverse to Albon and gets worse and starts finishing 7th. No, I don't think it'd be that bad. But no, it definitely feels like it's going back to last season. Yeah, rather than.
Which is a shame. It was exciting to have him in the mix, and hello Perez, good, come on. It was winning Monaco. It was quite something. But back to the VSC. There's a question from Vista Poloni. How does the driver get informed of a VSC finish? Anything that could wake up Perez? Obviously, they look at their steering wheel, as that's the main thing. Obviously, they're looking at they're getting information as to how optimally they can reach each little mini sector where they can not lose as much time as well, try to not lose as much time as they can. It would tell them on the steering wheel that the VSC's ended, I guess, as well. You'd have the green lights around the track that would go from yellow to green. If they do have lights, some of them would just be flags, I suppose. But I guess with the mix up and whatever, it's all through the steering wheel. And I suppose through the team radio as well, they could let him know, but that's probably not going to be the easiest and quickest way. It's not like, now, go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I go on, you go, Katie, because you know more about this than me, because I know you love the rule book.
I love sleeping with the rule book. So per the sporting regs, it says when the clerk of the course decides it is safe to end the VSC procedure, the message VSC ending will be sent to all competitors via the official messaging system, and at any time between 10 and 15 seconds later, VSC on the FIA light panels, which are like the little boards on the side of the track, will change to green, and drivers may continue the session or
Wow. Well, that was really insightful.
Was riveting.
Look at that.
So,
the second you were going in, you just froze.
I read that so beautifully.
Let's try that again. You said 10 to 15 seconds, then pretty much cut straight after that.
I love my internet so much. Where should I start from? From 10, 15 seconds later or from the start?
Yeah, that's fine. 10 to 15 seconds.
So via the official messaging system, and at any time between 10 and 15 seconds later, VSC on the FIA light panels, which are the panels that appear at the side of the track, will change to green, and drivers may continue the session or continue racing immediately. After 30 seconds, the green light will be extinguished. So that's the situation. So the teams will be told it on the pit wall. It's the same messaging system, I think, that it signifies if there's a yellow flag in, at turn 14, or if Ocon's got a drive-through penalty or something's being investigated. There's a system where basically everything gets noted, and so it'll be on there. And then for Sergio, he's got the light panels, which will be clearly visible to him. And George said that he felt it was pretty straightforward. To be honest, I just gunned it down when the lights went green. Interestingly, Christian Horner said that he claimed Checo wasn't getting the delta in his car, which then the FIA said they knew nothing about after the race. So whether that was true or...
Wow, well, we sent it to you. I mean,
you got my email, right?
Yeah.
Just an unfortunate blip in the system, but as we said, everybody gets the same information. So
yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for that, Casey. I'm glad you stayed with us with your internet. That was good stuff. Tommy, what's your 3-word race review?
Mine is won't be missed. And this is about...
the championship fight. Oh, yeah. Cool.
No, this is about Paul Ricard. It seems like this, according to the provisional calendar, apparently it's not on there, and Spa isn't as well, but that's a rant for another time. I won't miss this circuit. I know it gets criticism. We did a video of like, oh, are we too harsh on it? It's not the worst circuit in the entire world, but it's not great. And the fact that it's flat, it's boring, the camera angles are horrible. And then if you designed a circuit to make overtaking difficult, you'd basically make it should in theory be a good track because they've got loads of space, there's a really long straight, but the fact that it goes into a really tight chicane that everyone seemed to just not have enough because the corner before it is horrible, that you just can't follow around there. So you can't follow around the corner, then you go onto the main straight, you're into a chicane that's really difficult to get two cars side by side. Ocon and Sonoda is a great example there. That you can't get two cars side by side anyway. And then the next bit of the chicane is once you like get back onto that main straight, you've not got DRS, it's not a heavy braking zone, so you can't really overtake there either. And they even got rid of the Gorilla trophies, which was one of the best bits of the whole race weekend. So for me, it won't be missed.
You were gutted. You were absolutely hyping up those Gorilla trophies on our Twitch watch-alongs, and it didn't even happen. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Lenovo.
I know. Literally a sponsor, like.
Yeah.
I thought they weren't
at least
allowed to do
make
that.
it interesting, like the Heineken ones. That's quite nice, but just Lenovo. Oh, great! Let me just put it next to my headphones or my laptop, whatever they make. I mean, I want monkey.
What, when you win the French Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Okay, so
WTF1 podcast sponsored by Lenovo. There goes that branding. No.
Amazing. Yes, I will not miss it either.
No.
We did free practice watch-alongs. And I would not put my worst enemy through them ever again. I will never do a free practice watch along around for the French Grand Prix ever again. It is just, as on paper, not the worst track in the world. That goes to Monaco.
Well, I can see Lucy in the chat going second most overtakes on average over last, but there's something about it.
Can we see them? That was another thing about TV direction.
That's true.
Yeah. And also just generally, like, it's not always about overtakes, in my opinion, and that. Paul Ricard's a great example that there's just something about it just makes it woeful, even if there's a lot of overtakes.
Yeah, I'm not going to have too much of a go on F1 TV direction either, because we've said in the podcast and we've demanded that when the battle for the lead is less than a second, we do not go away from it. And fair play to them. They didn't go away from it.
Yeah,
they didn't.
And
can we have a little pop-up box so we can see some
a little pop-up box? Fair enough.
Just
but
something.
look, Katie, Rome wasn't built in a day. And we need to we're steadily getting there.
I was a big fan of when they said that Leclerc was the Nan at one point.
Yeah, it was like the graphic, like where they track the car and they have like a bit of information. It just went Nan and then went away very quickly.
So, to be fair to direction, they did well with the like cutting to the Aston Martin battle at the end, which they don't normally tend to find stuff like that. They're normally like, no, we're showing the winner, celebrate.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was quite a tasty battle.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
Well done, F1 TV direction on that bit. But yeah, no, I won't miss Paul Ricard. I think it'd be a shame to lose a French Grand Prix in the sense that the FIA Formula One Grand Prix is literally French. So there are lots of things that link the birth of Formula One back to France and like French speaking things and stuff, but find a better circuit.
Well, they don't. That's the problem. There's not a good French Grand Prix, dare I say.
No, because there was talk of a street circuit
in
Nice. That's now been, I think, poo-pooed. So that's not happening.
Poo-pooed.
Technical term.
It doesn't. The problem is, I know people say about like, the history of the French Grand Prix, but they've never had a particularly good circuit. For me, the history of the French Grand Prix for France, I just see Le Mans in motorsport, and that's like their signature race. And I don't personally, I don't want to lose Monaco, Belgium, UK, and Monza, like Italy. Like they're the four, in my opinion, that have to be on the calendar. French Grand Prix. Sorry,
just race around Le Mans. It's fine.
Well, didn't Ocon say that?
Yeah.
He did, yeah. He said
He drove there,
race
didn't he? Or was that Alonso?
Alonso, I think.
Was it Alonso? Who drove the
Well,
Alpine show car ahead of Le Mans last year, was it?
Maybe it was Ocon.
It was the
Maybe.
first time
Alonso
that someone
actually
had,
did Le Mans, but that was in WEC. I think maybe it was Ocon.
Yeah, because it was the first time that a modern F1 car had gone round Le Mans, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tasty.
Lovely. Tasty.
Interesting.
Right. F1 Aditya, is it time to remove this track from the
was
calendar?
Alonso.
It provided little to no overtaking. Oh, yeah, thank you very much, because he was racing there, so it made perfect sense for him to,
He wasn't racing at the time.
Was he not? He was racing, was he? Was he not? Well, he was just there. He was just there for banter. Oh,
Yeah, he loves it.
That's global warming.
fair enough. What?
Well, just shipping random people around the world, just for the sake of it. It wasn't even
that
there.
was
just
such a curveball. I did not. I
was like, what?
One person flies. It provided little to no overtaking bar the chicane on the straight. Yeah, we're getting rid of Paul Ricard. Yes, please. Okay, that pretty much covers it. At Juhafly, why was George Russell so upset about his move versus Sergio Perez? He made the move pretty late. Fronts were next to the rears. Claim cannot surely be valid in every case. Yeah, I don't know why George was so angry about it, to be honest with you. He made the move, but just with how the nature of the track, Perez doesn't really have anywhere to go. I know it was a late move. I can understand maybe why. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think it was very 50-50. But
I think they did right there that Sergio could just go off the track and hold his position, and they didn't do anything about it. Because, I mean, the person in this question saying, why was he so upset? I mean, shock as driver thinks something's gone against him. They're always going to back themselves and go, this isn't fair on me. I'm
pretty sure George was reciting the entirety of the GPDA handbook whilst driving, wasn't he?
Probably. It's one of those moves where, I think the nature of the corner means that Sergio had nowhere to go, and there was a bit of contact as well, that he's just going into the side of him. So I think it's a fair enough move, and obviously he can't be too upset that he ended up back in front of him anyway. So
I'm pretty sure with the new overtaking rules this year as well, they have to be a lot more alongside than what previously. They had updated it where
is that about Verstappen by any chance when he just sends it and is like, I made the corner?
it might well be because of Verstappen, but I'm pretty sure you have to be more alongside. Like, for example, if you make a move around the outside, now you have to be slightly ahead of the car that you're overtaking in order to be basically demanding space, which is not something that they've had to do or had in place before. I think maybe the FIA just saw it as a bit of a late move and didn't have enough alongside to warrant the corner.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Toto Wolff obviously also came on the radio interjecting and saying, George, basically shut up and put your foot down, you'll get him anyway. So, which was I don't think we've really seen that from Toto so far this year. Not that it's been, if it hasn't been broadcast. I don't know, maybe it was just George determined to get this podium and thought that was going to be his one chance. Little did he know that there would be a VSC that would be beneficial to him just a few minutes down the line.
Why did you become a news reporter?
I know. I felt like, the old, when we were talking in that time when about the old F1 DVDs, you went like that. What could happen later on will shock you.
And now throw to Katie for the ad break. Here we go. At Mega versus Primus comes in with a question. Now that Alpine have overtaken McLaren for fourth in the constructors' battle, do you think they will be able to maintain it throughout the rest of the season? Yes. Carrying on.
Do you?
Yes.
It depends.
Yes. Yeah, he's not been that bad though.
But
it depends it depends how many times Alonso's car wants to break of its own accord.
So Daniel Ricciardo has scored 19 points the entirety of this year, and we're saying that it won't be because of Danny Rick. But
he's I guess he's improving, whereas Alpine
2 back-to-back great points. Woohoo! We're on the charge, guys. Woohoo!
On the charge. I feel like a social media manager. # on the charge.
On the charge, finishing 9th and scoring 2 points. Yeah, great.
Yeah, there's an interesting theory, wasn't there, from Nico Rosberg that was saying that you have to essentially say that Daniel Ricciardo's doing fine, and it's more the fact that Lando's really good and that not Danny Rick's really bad. But I think it is a bit of both. I think he's doing fine when he finishes 9th and Lando finishes 7th, and you're like, that theory checks out. But when Lando's 5th in qualifying and Ricciardo's 14th or whatever, that's when that theory doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, and there needs to be, like, this is Daniel Ricciardo.
One race.
He needs to beat Lando. Like, it's all well and good in finishing like 8 seconds behind Lando in this particular French Grand Prix and whatever, and picking up a couple of points. But when Alonso and Ocon are finishing 6th and 8th, that's still more points in favour of Alpine. So there just needs to, for Danny Rick, like, he's an experienced Formula One driver, just 1 or 2 weekends where you go, wow, he's out-qualified Lando. And
it's just not happening, is it?
And that's the difference. And that's what I think you need. If you're McLaren, you need Danny Rick to sometimes outperform Lando, who's supposed to be this wonder kid or whatever, so that they pick up more points than what they have been doing. Because Alonso and Ocon, I think, Ocon has the occasional great race where he'll finish 5th, like he did recently, was it in Austria? And, picked up a big haul of points. We haven't seen that yet from Danny Rick. And that's probably, I think, going to be the difference between the Alpine and McLaren battle for P4, personally.
Yeah. Oh, it's so difficult. I mean, McLaren just seem to be not really anywhere. I know Lando's pulling out amazing performances, but even like yesterday, listening to Lando speak after the Grand Prix, he just sounded so like blasé and like meh. Like he was like, oh, nothing really much to say. I think that was the genuine thing that he said to F1 after the race. Like, it's bizarre. I mean, Lando, like, he didn't even speak about this in any of his interviews that I found. There's a clip of him in Parc Fermé removing this huge piece of debris. It's massive. It was like this big for people watching it on YouTube, and just like chucks it in his cockpit. But like, I don't know, if I was a racing driver, we all know racing drivers love excuses. I'd be going off to everybody I spoke to, and I found this massive chunk of car that slowed me down like 100 seconds a lap, like I'd be rinsing it.
In the voices today.
That's not what I thought Lando Norris sounds like, by the way. But I'd be rinsing that, and he just didn't care. He was too busy like going that he got a freeze pop on blimmin' F1's post-race show. He was more excited by that than talking about his race. So
that's very Lando, though.
I think it's just the fact that Lando is really not that bothered about finishing 7th in a Formula One Grand Prix.
No,
like,
he
doesn't. He's not there to finish 7th.
The vibes at McLaren aren't really there at the moment. I feel like they're all maybe they're just shocked at how they were maybe last year with some of their like podiums for Lando and things, and maybe these new regulations clearly aren't going to plan for them. Ricciardo's getting all this attention in the press. Will he stay? Will he go? That maybe the vibes at McLaren just aren't it at the moment. And I don't know, it's affecting the whole team and maybe their performances. I don't know, but it just doesn't really seem to be like the McLaren that I know from years prior, if that's the thing. Yeah.
Smashed it.
I can't deal with these 10 a.m. podcast, boys.
I'm sorry.
I'm struggling.
Tommy, come on, get it out. Wait, what? I'm at the ABCDF1 jingle.
Sure you did.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Hey there.
Wait until I took a freaking sip of drink. Thanks a lot.
Okay. This is from Levy in Edmonton, Canada. Hey there. I made this jingle for the WTF1 podcast. It's inspired by Hamilton's 10 Dual Commandments.
And not Lewis Hamilton. Like this is Hamilton the musical. Just so
this means nothing to me, but Matt can be the judge because I know you.
I know it. Yeah.
Time for ABCDF1. It's the race week in ratings. Tommy, please no half ratings.
Yeah, I love that.
You were vibing to that.
I know that song.
That's a good
1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, you need to go watch Hamilton the musical now, Tommy. After watching that, it is a 3-hour-long musical, I think. But
it's not about Hamilton.
No, it's not about Lewis Hamilton. Okay, well, thank you. Who was that from? Sorry,
it was from Levy Muff.
Thank you, Levy.
From
Thank you,
Levy
Muff. Much appreciated. Do enjoy musical me, so really enjoyed that. Right, ABCDF1 time. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton.
Hey, sir.
A star, I think.
A star.
Perform that car.
Yeah. What could he have done? I think that was probably his best race of the season, even if there was a bit, maybe not as like exciting as Silverstone, but he was just showed that if he gets a dominant car, he'll be up there again, kind of.
Yeah, it was a bulletproof performance once again from Mercedes, really, wasn't it? Yeah,
mad.
A star from us, an A from the fans. Didn't fancy Hamilton, A star.
It was very close.
Fair enough.
But it was A. Yeah.
George Russell, A.
This is difficult. I think I'll go for an A.
High A. High A. I was going to say B. Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
This wasn't anywhere really. He's qualified 6th, and he got through the pack. So yeah. It's an A.
You're giving him a B for a third place in a Mercedes. What is wrong with you? He was 6 seconds off Hamilton.
Okay.
Okay.
Russell hater. Non-British bias, only for Hamilton. Okay, so an A from us and an A from the fans. Max Verstappen.
A.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But then,
is it?
where you going? Oh, how can you give Russell an A but then like Verstappen? But I think it is an A because it's not.
No, A star.
You are going to go A star.
Look, he did everything he needed to do. He won the race. He missed out on pole, obviously, but I mean, Charles Leclerc was dragged around like no tomorrow by Carlos Sainz, and he didn't bin it. So
yeah.
And to be fair, he could have easily won that race. He could have won the race.
Yeah, with the undercut, he could have won it
because he would have been ahead of Leclerc when Leclerc came in for the pit stop. So
I guess you can't downgrade him for not going for a move when he's thinking about consistency and long-term race, and then didn't get the chance to overtake Leclerc because Leclerc put in the wall. So
yeah, like you take a little bit off the grade because you didn't get pole, but I don't think it takes you down a whole grade.
I'd have given him an A if we'd have gone for Russell B, but just throwing it out there. A star then.
Here we go. Oh, I would have gone for this. I would have gone for a decimal A. Right. Okay. So A star.
8.6.
Shut up. A star for Verstappen.
8.6.
And an A from the fans. Sergio Perez.
C.
Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be a C from me too. Katie? Yeah.
Yeah, C. Sorry.
You have to actually confirm.
Just nod for the audience.
Okay, yeah. C from us and a C from the fans. Charles Leclerc, F.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go for I was gonna say E, but I think
we failed. He crashed.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna say F or E. It's got to be an F. He's literally thrown away 25 points.
Like he has failed. How can you give him an E for just crashing? Like, you know what I mean?
On his own.
That's how I see it.
If it had been, he'd have probably got like a D if it had been like a wheel-to-wheel battle with Verstappen where he'd made a mistake or something like that. But on your own, when you were going to win, potentially.
Yeah, it's an unforced error.
Yeah. F as well.
That makes me very sad, but here we are. And the fans gave him a D. Not sure what the fans are voting on there. he crashed not too bad. Yeah, I'm the one that's supposed to be getting.
He didn't write off the car. Yeah, I suppose at least he hasn't got any kind of like gearbox issues or anything to come because it was relatively.
Katie, don't say that, please.
Interesting.
Anything can happen between
we've
now
not actually
and
mentioned. Yeah, we've not actually mentioned that. You say that he didn't write off the car. He was trying to get into reverse, which I think was the thing about him saying about the throttle. Because some people are like, oh, his throttle had a problem and that's why he went off. But no, it was the fact that he didn't actually have that much damage. So he could have reversed out. And then with safety cars and stuff, he probably would have ended up finishing like 5th or something. So he would have been fine. But the car was embedded in the wall, which is
a bit like Sergio
quite the achievement to find a wall at Paul Ricard.
Yeah. Where was it? I want to say it was Canada, but I don't know. Where was it? Sergio had the same thing where he went in and then he got kind of embedded underneath the barriers, similar to that.
Spa or Canada, both happened twice.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh dear. Sorry, Sergio, to bring that.
When you can't reverse it out the wall because you have to do it on your own.
And remember, the reverse gear is incredibly fragile as well. So sometimes they can't actually find reverse gear, and it's game over. So yeah, it's a massive shame for Charles Leclerc. We've already reflected on that. Moving on. Yes, the fans gave him a D. We gave him an F. Carlos Sainz. A.
I'm tempted to go
A
star.
Borderline A star, but
I'll go star.
because I think he got shafted by the strategy.
Mm.
I'm
And
really
starting at the back.
disappointed. I'm really disappointed that we didn't get to see his race pan out because he was very quick and just ended up on the worst possible strategy once Leclerc crashed. So, fifth A star for fifth seems a bit much, but I don't think it's his fault that he finished fifth.
But would he have finished anywhere else? I think it would have been closer, but I still don't think he would have finished fourth if they pit him earlier.
So low A star.
I'm still going to go A star. He got shafted by an unsafe release as well, which I'm putting the blame on Ferrari.
He was in the pits for a while, wasn't he?
I'm giving him an A star because I think it's the best. He's looked the best to Leclerc that he has all season, which is unfortunate in the race that he has to start last.
Okay,
which
no,
is very
so low A star.
Yeah.
Low A star. Okay, so an A star from us and an A star from the fans. Lando Norris, B.
B?
B. Yeah.
Okay, B from us and a B from the fans. Daniel Ricciardo,
C.
I'll go B as well.
Australian bias.
I'm going to give him a I'm going to give him a B. Screw it. So it's the lowest B you can possibly get, but it's a B. Okay, so a B from us and a B from the fans. Fernando Alonso,
A.
A. Okay, good, easy. And an A from the fans. Esteban Ocon, B.
Yeah. I've not forgiven him for punting Yuki.
Yeah, I was going to say,
C. No.
Crash. I'm going to go for a C because he ruined Yuki's race and
if we're
didn't
gonna
get fairly punished for that, I think.
If we're going to give Danny Rick the same grade as Lando, which I know Tommy didn't agree with, he was only 8 seconds off of his teammate. Ocon finished 14 behind Alonso.
Yeah, and it's the same mistake. C. Yeah.
C.
What did Frank say there?
C from us and a B from the fans. Pierre Gasly. C.
C.
12th. Not great. Okay, and a C from the fans. Next up, Yuki Sonoda. I mean, he just got yeeted by Ocon, so quite difficult to judge. So we're going to have to give him a C, but it could have easily been better.
Going to have to give him a C. No, B. I'm tempted to give him a B as well.
To be fair, he was in Q3.
His full race.
He outqualified
Gasly
by a mile.
Ocon ruined his car.
To be fair, when you actually look at the Q1 times, Sonoda was 400ths quicker than Gasly in Q1 and managed to qualify 8th. But yeah, okay, I'll allow a B, no problem. All right, B from us and a C from the fans. Next up, Sebastian Vettel.
C.
Yeah, and a C from the fans. Lance Stroll. B.
Got points. One thing I will say about Lance Stroll.
B for brake test.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dodgy defensive maneuver, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know I critique Stroll on this, but he has done a very good job of making up positions during the race, kind of like a secret assassin, starting near the back,
100%.
ending up near the points. I do feel he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Yeah, he has awful qualifying. You don't notice him the whole race, and then suddenly he's 10th, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I know. B.
Yeah, a B.
Okay, yeah. B from us and a B from the fans. Nicholas Latifi.
He passed Bottas, woo, in the race.
And
then spun.
C. D.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah. Don't know why I even said C.
You're right.
I don't know what came over me then. Yeah, D for Latifi and a D from the fans. Alex Albon. It was looking not too bad, was it? And then
it's a shame. 13th doesn't really.
I'll give him a C.
C, yeah.
Yeah, C.
Okay, and a C from the fans. Valtteri Bottas. What a quiet, awful weekend.
For Alpha in general, they're just rubbish.
I'm sorry, Bottas getting a D.
C for me.
I'm tempted with a D as well, because it was just so dreadful. Anonymous and he was just every time I looked at the timing screen, he was at the back.
That's not a Valtteri Bottas C grade performance, Tommy. Have a word with yourself. Sorry, I'm just really still angry about Leclerc crashing. Right, Bottas. Okay, D from us and a C from the fans. Zhou Guanyu.
D.
D.
He actually got a penalty for causing a collision, which
Didn't he
in
smack Mick
theory,
Schumacher?
in
Yeah, we
theory,
saw a
should
replay
be
of it,
a
didn't we?
worse grade than his teammate who managed to avoid anything. So really, it should be an E, but that seems quite harsh.
No, he finished
No, I'm
6
gonna
laps
go an
down.
What he did? He stopped at the side of the
Yeah, I
track.
know, but he still finished 6 laps down according to this
No, it's an E
classification.
actually. Yeah, I forgot
think
about
an
his crash
E.
with. He didn't have much pace compared to Bottas either, and just
Yeah, E.
bad
That's
for him.
savage, but we've just gone for an E for Zhou Guanyu, and the fans have gone for a
Sorry,
C.
honey.
So looking forward to those comments. Okay, Kevin Magnussen had the beastiest start
Oh
in
my
the world, and then
Wow.
actually DNF'd. I'm gonna.
A star for the start, and then D for the rest of it. He seemed to be involved in
I
every
just
other
like
collision
the
as
guts of
well.
driving.
Yeah.
Tommy, you're going to give him a C after the reaction you gave to him on our live Twitch watch along, where you were literally like, K-Mag is the next coming of a Formula One world champion.
But in doing that, he kind of screwed himself a little bit. No, okay, B. Just for that start. Yeah, why not? Or is it a B?
I think it's a C.
Yeah, it's still a C.
Because
No, right.
he
Stop
literally
trying to
got
influence me.
inside. Yeah, he got involved in
It's
so
fun,
many
though.
tangles.
It's really fun. Okay,
Yeah, I
fair
can
enough.
see.
All right, C from us and a C from the fans. And Mick Schumacher, and I just had a wow.
D, I think.
I mean, he got
Yeah, D.
yeeted. He got yeeted.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been down at the back of the field
He got yeeted.
with the corner
He was
cutting and
proper
stuff.
unhappy with that track limits thing because he said he'd done exactly the same line in all practice sessions, hadn't had a single
Yeah,
complaint
sounds
I
from
about
the
cut
FIA.
the corner every lap and they didn't do
Literally,
anything.
that's literally what he said. He's like, I did it in FP1, FP2, FP3, nothing, and then I do it in qualifying and I get a penalty. It's like, well,
That sounds
cut the
FIA
corner then.
things.
that's yeah.
All right, Tommy. Jesus. Okay, cool. Mick Schumacher. All right, we'll give him a D then. D from us and a C from the fans. Prediction time.
We've made it.
I said Mick Schumacher points. That is incorrect. And I went for Vettel makes it out of Q1, which he did. So 1 point for me. Katie. Oh,
Screw you, Carlos Sainz.
Oh,
Screw you, Carlos
so
Sainz.
Close.
I said no Ferraris in the top 5. Can I please get half a point?
no.
Nope.
I was so close. Honestly, when
How
they
dare
picked
you
Carlos,
manifest
I
that
was
into the
like,
world?
yes, oh my God, I'm going to get a point on the podcast. Come on.
As if you were
Um,
celebrating Sainz's blunder strategy for 1 point on the podcast, Katie.
Baby girl, you've got to do everything you can for the points. And then I said Gasly involved in another spin, which can you count him going off the track and going
No.
through the bollards?
Did he spin?
Wow.
You really
Come
are
on,
trying to
you're
get
really
some
trying
Yeah,
sort
the
of
hard.
girl's really
incremental
trying to get
points,
some
aren't you? Huh?
points.
Yeah.
I know.
That's
Not
going
like
to have to
me.
be a 0. Tommy.
I had Mercedes win the most points from the race weekend.
No, you didn't say that. You said Mercedes win. Nice try, though.
Okay.
And that was definitely
multiple-
on the cards. When Leclerc and Verstappen were fighting, I remember watching when we were doing
Yeah.
our Twitch watch along. We were like, this crash. Hamilton's going to win.
Hamilton's going to win. And multiple track limit penalties, which
No.
were
Can
in
you
qualifying.
just say
No. You
what you
ruined
said
it
on the
for me.
end?
You wrote 3 plus multiple track limit penalties,
No,
5
because you
second
forced me
penalties.
into that.
Yeah, exactly. It's terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, next time when you're like, Val makes that a Q1, I'm like, what position?
No, because mine's very clear. Just makes it out. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah, cool.
What?
No, it doesn't matter. Go on.
Okay, the fans. Twooland. Alpine on the
I don't
podium.
know what you're laughing at.
I actually don't know what you're.
No, I do.
You'll see in a
What are
moment.
you laughing at? Okay.
Carry on.
Okay, Twooland. Shut up, Frank. Twooland. Alpine on the podium. No. Albert 46. Leclerc and Verstappen collide. No. And JMS 101190. Third Ferrari win in a row. No. Oh, God, I haven't done my Hungary predictions.
That's what I was laughing at. I put them in for you.
Right, Tommy, you do yours first. What are your predictions?
You're not going to say
please?
your Latifi win? one?
No, I'm definitely not right in saying that, though.
Okay, I went for Ferrari 1-2 and a Lando top 5 in quali. 1-2 in the
Ooh.
race, I should probably say, shouldn't I? Because you're...
Are you sure? Keep it
No,
vague,
I want to
baby.
be vague. Yeah, I'll keep it
Keep
vague
it
if you let
vague.
me.
Mate, if you then oh dear, Matt's going savage. I
Actually,
said
I'm gonna put that in quali. Actually, I'm gonna because Ferrari will screw it up in the race, won't they? Right, Ferrari 1-2 in quali.
Ferrari 1-2 quali. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I've said an unusual podium finisher / somebody who hasn't been on the podium so far this season.
/ like just
like a new podium finisher. But then if I said that, you go, oh well, it's got to be like someone like Sonoda.
Alonso is not an unusual because he's had 43 or whatever. Yeah.
Like, somebody that's not
please.
the same people that we've had. Yeah.
I really hope you get a point for that, by the way, because we've not had enough variety on the podium.
No, we've not.
Yeah, that's been the
Can I get a point for just suggesting it? Thanks. That's great.
No, you're really trying it today.
I said there'll be a wet session. Next, let's go. Just it was going to rain.
1 second.
A wet F1 session. I'll clear that up.
Budapest. Just going to have a look at the weather forecast just in case you've... Oh, I see what you're doing here. I see Sunday the 31st, light rain showers. Saturday the 30th,
no,
thundery showers.
I've done that because it's always stormy in Hungary.
Well,
it's rained there for like the last
Saturday
2 years.
And raining on Sunday at the moment, so that might well be a point. Oh god, I might have to put thundery. I might have to put thundery for double points. No, I've gone for Verstappen DNF. Just so that you can go back to be like, oh, so Matt, you said the championship was over and that was 25 points. And Mercedes, another podium. Another podium. Mercedes, another podium.
They're great in Hungary.
Sorry.
And they've got on the podium in like the last 5 races.
Budapest weather and gone, oh, well, there's going to be some precipitation.
I'm just giving it back. Precipitation.
Okay, the fans. Dan CFC 21, Alonso podium. Wow.
Yes, please.
What a hoser. Haas. Williams.
Wait. You can't have Verstappen DNF because someone's done it in the fan prediction.
Yeah.
Oh God, I must have read. No, me and Ed. We're fine. What a hoser. Haas, Williams, and Aston Martin will all have a driver in the points. Okay. And
nice.
Edu 27, Verstappen DNF.
That's Matt's burner again.
Yeah. So me and Ed
Matt
are going to cash in.
Put the Latifi win back on.
Oh. Latifi did score points last time.
Imagine Latifi wins a crazy race, and you're like, "No, I deleted it from my prediction."
Imagine, and you wrote it as well.
Yeah,
I mean, Latifi to win. Goodness me!
Latifi onesie. Here we go.
Can you imagine
Latifi
what that race would have been?
Yeah, that would need to happen, wouldn't it?
Oh dear. Tommy, final thoughts.
Oh God!
Didn't even give
final
you time
thoughts.
to think. I just wanted to see the panic in your eyes, and there it is.
Final thoughts are shame for the title.
Why do you sound like you're on the toilet?
I don't know. I'm just confused.
I'm just confused. Shame for the title. Moving on. Okay, Katie. I think Tommy's having something of a brain aneurysm there. So carry on.
Mine is that I'm looking forward to Hungary because I think Hungary is a really. No, I've not finished my point yet.
Oh my God. Everybody knows. I'm looking forward to
insert.
I think Hungary's a really slept on track. I think it's always produces a pretty exciting, interesting race. So I'm looking forward to Hungary.
Great. Good wheel knowledge there.
It is. Yeah, thank you very much. No cap.
Not washed.
Hashtag copium. Hashtag. What's this protein bar one everyone keeps saying on TikTok?
What?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm just saying all the phrases. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm down with the kids, you know.
You're not washed, Katie. Well done.
Thank you.
Even though apparently that's a compliment. Right, here we go then. My final thoughts are, it's been great. I am going to be in recovery mode. I am not. No, it's not. It can't be race week. Apparently, it's a good thing. But clearly, Katie and Tommy are washed and don't have any wheel knowledge as to what it's like to be a Ferrari fan. Okay, dabbed. Wow, 2022, incredible. So yeah, mine is that I have not emotionally recovered. I will still not have recovered by the time Hungary comes. And I think I need the entirety of the summer break just to get over the fact that Leclerc is probably going to be over 80 points behind Max Verstappen as we enter it. So that is that for the WTF1 podcast. Hashtag WTF1 podcast if you want to get involved in the discussion, ask us any questions, and maybe even suggest something that you want to talk about. There you go. Make sure to give us 5 stars, thumbs up, comment good things on wherever you're listening or watching. And we'll be back for loads of Twitch watch-alongs. Go follow us, WTF1 Official, on there, because we're back once again until we go for a summer break. So please come join us. We do some, I don't actually know what we'll post the schedule on our social media channels, and you can come and join us there and then. Thank you so much for watching / listening to this Ferrari Pain podcast, the FPP. And we'll see you very soon. And thank you to Team WTF1 for watching live. Mucho appreciated. Take care. Adios.
Merci.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
finished.
It's over.
Until next week.